So here's the deal, I haven't filmed outside in ages and the weather is just so nice that I couldn't help it. So let's get into it. So as I mentioned a few weeks ago, Apple released the new iPad, but they were impossible to get a hold of. It was the most fragmented release of an Apple product I've ever seen, frankly. I went into an Apple store and they said they had no idea when it was coming out, and then I went to look online and they said it would take at least 2 weeks for it to get delivered, and you're probably wondering, George, why are you buying an Apple product anyway? You hate them. However, it was Mother's Day, so we did get one, and let's take a look inside. This came signed for, and it was like DHL. This is like proper, this was bought from a website. If you try to buy one right now, there is a 2-week wait process still. So you buy one now, you'll get it in about 2 weeks. And as you open up the box, you reveal the iPad. Let's just slide this out, chuck that to the side, do that, and here it is. This one in particular is just the 32GB Wi-Fi version. This is the base version, which costs £340. Amazingly, it costs more in pounds than it does in dollars, but we're going to skim past that as we open this box up. Honestly, the biggest selling point of this device is actually not the device itself, it's the price it comes at. At £340, it is the cheapest iPad, which is saying something because the smaller one costs more than this. Like most other Apple products, the process of actually opening it is quite simple. You just have to lift it up. Inside you get the iPad itself, which isn't actually that interesting. And when you remove it, you'll see the massive power brick and all the documentation, which will contain stickers and whatnot, the lightning cable that's used to charge it, and yeah, that power brick again, it's not small. Outside of that, this is actually a mishmash of other devices. I mean, as I boot it on now, this body itself is the iPad Air 1. The screen is also kind of the iPad Air 1. It's got Touch ID, and that's like a real button. It's got the CPU from an iPhone 6s, making it relatively powerful, but it only has 2 speakers unlike the iPad Pro, which has 4, and it also has no pen support. This iPad is by no definition bad, it's just a mishmash of other iPads and is an interesting upgrade choice. Also, looking at the top, you can see the typo because there was supposed to be a comma after the word George, because it's from your beautiful George and Kate, as opposed to from your beautiful George and Kate. One thing that is worth pointing out is, as you can tell, like this black bit seems a bit thicker than usual, right? And that's because this screen isn't actually laminated. If I like turn it to its side, you can see there's quite some clearance between the screen and the actual glass. If I bump up the ISO, you can see it a bit better. It's not very Apple-esque in terms of quality here. Is this a bad device? Absolutely not. Is it a great update if you already have an iPad Air 2? No. And is the naming convention simple? Absolutely not. This is just the iPad. It doesn't go by any other name. Then there's the iPad Pro or the iPad Pro, depending on which size you want it in, and the iPad Mini 4. In fact, even on the back, it just says iPad. There's no, like, name. There's a model number, but that's about it. I mean, how are we supposed to differentiate this from any other iPad ever, apart from the fact that the other iPads have names, luckily? So there we are. That is the iPad. Still got massive bezels. Looks just like the iPad Air, but it's still not bad. The lack of a capacitive home button slightly bothers me since they're taking it in such a big direction with the iPhone. And the lack of a mute switch, which I actually only just realized as I went to look around it, seems like an odd choice. However, unlike an iPhone, it does have a headphone jack. The iPad is a slowly shrinking market for Apple, so we'll have to see how this does in terms of sales, but in terms of like the process of making one of these, for Apple it's remarkably simple. Anyway guys, if you liked the video, make sure to click like. If you didn't, I'm not quite sure what you're doing here. However, you can click here to see the previous video, here to see the video that YouTube thinks you'll like most, and click here to subscribe. Make sure you do that because you'll get future videos such as this one, and I'll see you guys next time.